Welcome to FRC Media News for Thursday, February 28th, 2019. I'm Keith Tebow. On tonight's show, the candidates running for mayor in the recall election get together for their first debate tonight. We preview repair work planned at the Tansy Elementary School.
Here are some job descriptions.
And how Bristol Community College art students worked on the project to reflect the horror of the Holocaust. But first, let's check in with the news headlines of the week. We bring in the editor-in-chief of the Fall River Herald News, Lynn Sullivan. Lynn, welcome back. How are you?
Good, thank you.
So tonight, Lynn, the recall election less than 2 weeks away. Tonight at Morton Middle School, actually following this telecast at 6:30, will be the first mayoral debate featuring the candidates for mayor, sponsored by the Herald News in partnership with FRC Media, FRG-TV, and WSAR. So, Lynn, I guess briefly, what should we expect tonight in terms of what's going to happen?
You know, I'm excited. We've got five, very intelligent candidates, and I think that we'll hopefully get some good answers to questions. The Herald News, we ran basically a poll for the past week or so, where we've been asking readers to weigh in with, what are the issues that are important to them? What are the issues they'd really like us to touch on? And you know what? Readers came up with some really great ideas. So obviously, I think there were about 100 responses, so there's no way we're going to be able to ask all those questions. But I think we found a way to sort of weave a lot of the issues into the questions that we do ask. So I expect some good debate.
You'll be there on the panel asking questions, as will our Donna Mata of FRC Media News and Sue Nader from WSAR and Pam Martin from FRG-TV. I have the dubious distinction. No, I appreciate it. I look forward to being the moderator for tonight's debate. And it's going to be a 2-hour debate, correct, from 6:30 to 8:30. So we hope to get in as many questions as possible, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be from 6:30 to 8:30 at Morton Middle School. Please stay tuned right after this newscast for live coverage of tonight's debate. And we'll have a recap on next week's show right here on FRC Media News. All right, in other news this week, Lynn, we have talked quite a bit on the show for a while about the ouster of the Diamond School Superintendent Director Thomas Aubin. Well, last week he filed a suit against the Diamond School Committee, citing issues with the open meeting law and also not given the proper notice for his termination. Fill us in on some of the details here.
Yeah, I mean, it does sound like in sort of ugly situation might be getting a little bit uglier. However, I mean, obviously you want to, if something went wrong, if there was wrongdoing involved, or, we would like to get to the bottom of it. So hopefully this lawsuit can do that. And, I mean, I'm sure there are people on both sides of the issue that would like to see just some resolution just so that the school could move on. Right.
The lawsuit was filed a week ago Wednesday on the 20th. And there were 11 community members who were part of the suit. The suit alleges that the school committee did not properly exercise its right not to renew Aubin's contract. It also argues that the vote should have happened in a more open manner, or at least a discussion. And they're also citing some open meeting violations, as it was reported by the Herald that the school committee held executive sessions, I believe, on 3 occasions prior to making the announcement that they were not to renew the contract. And the suit alleges that those conversations should have been had in public with public input. As we know, Lynn, Mr. Aubin again is up at the end of June. The school committee has passed forward an offer to a replacement. That individual, Elvio Ferreira, I believe at this point hasn't even accepted the position as of yet. Is that correct?
No, and I feel so bad. I mean, what an awkward position really to put him in, I suppose. So, I mean, they're still working together. This is such a really strange turn of events, I think. But, both, by all accounts, wonderful individuals. So, I mean, I just hope that Diamond can sort of get past this and start to move forward.
Yeah, there's definitely been plenty of outreach and support Mr. Aubin in the community, and also at a few of the school committee meetings, but something, again, we will continue to follow up on as it moves forward. Some good news on a topic that has been a topic for local politicians, not only local politicians, but state and national politicians, the opioid epidemic problem here in Fall River. Some good news for the city of Fall River. The opioid task force in the city reported that in 2018, opioid-related deaths, overdose deaths in Fall River, actually went down 16% from 64 to 54 in 2018. But I guess those numbers, Lynn, are always sobering in the fact that I guess one death is still too many.
Oh, for sure, and I think anybody on that opioid task force would say that. I do know, I mean, obviously Narcan can be sort of a controversial topic in the city and outside of the city. But, I mean, as Nikki Fontaine says, you know, what this really proves, the lowering of deaths may simply mean that people are getting the Narcan in time. And that's great. You know, there's been a lot of trainings and a lot of outreach with regard to that. I mean, regardless of what you think about this epidemic, I think nobody wants to see people die. So I think if the Narcan can save lives and get people back on the path towards sobriety, I think that'd be a great thing.
Fall River still, unfortunately, is high in terms of the number of deaths that did take place here in the Commonwealth. However, as I said, the 16% decrease from 2018 to 2017 actually is above the state average, where state overall opioid overdose deaths in 2018 fell only 4% from 2017. So good news on that front, and we hope that that trend will continue here in Fall River and in other parts of our Commonwealth. And finally this week, Lynn, some good news potentially for St. Anne's Church. The church was closed by the diocese in late November when they held their last Mass. There's been a group looking to preserve the building and try to reopen the shrine and hopefully work at also getting repairs to the building to maybe even open up the upstairs main church area, which has been closed for many years. And it looks like this week there's been some movement, correct?
Yeah, I think, you know, the Preservation Society for St. Anne's, the founder, Richie Afonso, has, you know, updated everybody, said, you know, actually the bishop has sat down with him and talks seem to be pretty good. And that's wonderful to see that, you know, it's often decisions are made and nothing really can be changed and sort of everybody's hands are tied. But it's nice to see that the diocese and the bishop have an open mind about this and say, hey, you know, we've got a motivated group of individuals who are willing to help us, and let's see if we can make that work. So it sounds like what they're trying to do is that the Preservation Society would run the church as a sacred space, maintain the building, be responsible for the finances, and, you know, for the public, I mean, they can still visit the shrine and pray there. It doesn't sound like there would be regular masses, but at least possibly some special occasion masses.
Right. So there's a potential that if an agreement can be worked out between the Preservation Society and the diocese, that the shrine could reopen even as early as this summer. So that's good news.
Yeah.
And of course, the members of the Preservation Society, as you said, Lynn, are very aware of what's in front of them in terms of what they would need to do in terms of making sure that the church not only remains open, but is safe to remain open. And there's quite some financing that would need to be involved. I believe the number was over $13 million to repair the entire structure to make sure that it is safe for people to pray in and to worship in. So, well, again, another story we will continue to follow. All right, Lynn, what's coming up over the next few days? Well,
we continued our look at major issues this week with the candidates. This week it's education. So, I mean, that's obviously a topic that affects pretty much everybody in the city, and it affects the future of the city. So we'll be looking at that on Sunday. And then, I mean, we've got typical kinds of crazy news, including, you know, the treasurer of a local athletic boosters group who unfortunately was charged with stealing $30,000 from that group. These somehow, I don't know, these stories seem more common than I'd like to admit, but sometimes the temptation's too great, maybe. Yeah.
All right, Lynn, thanks a lot. We'll see you very soon, literally very soon.
All right, thank you.
We'll have more FRC Media News after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Medical receptionist. Primacare, located at 277 Pleasant Street, is in need of a full-time medical receptionist to greet and register patients for appointments, complete medical insurance, manage patient records, and answer incoming calls. Job number 117-68631. Prep cook. The landmark of Fall River, an assisted living facility located at 400 Columbia Street, is looking for a part-time experienced prep cook to prepare cooking ingredients, simple dishes, and maintain a clean kitchen. Job number 117-70774. Fitness trainer. Planet Fitness, located at 657 Quarry Street, is looking for a fitness trainer to help guide members to their personal fitness goals and conduct safe and effective exercise for a wide variety of participants. Job number 117-76495. Century Paving Construction, located at 167 Hyacinth Street, is looking to fulfill the following full and part-time positions. Concrete finish laborer, job number 117-76493. Asphalt paving crew, job number 117-76491. South Coast Hospital Group, located at 263 Stanley Street, is looking to fulfill the following full and part-time positions. Fire alarm technician, electrician, job number 117-75156. Cardiopulmonary care clinician, job number 117-71521. For more information on these or other positions, visit masshire.jobquest.detma.org or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. The Fall River School Department is making final plans for some much-needed repairs at the Tansy Elementary School.
Tansy is out to bid. It's on the street right now. We are actually, tomorrow afternoon, we have a pre-bid walkthrough. So contractors who are interested in bidding on Tansy will be at Tansy. And with that, we would be maybe a month and a half away from signing contracts with the prospective contractors that are going to be working on that project. We will be ramping up as soon as those contractors are under contract. They will be ordering windows, which is our biggest lead time of anything we're going to do. Over the summer, bathrooms will be finished and the boilers will be installed. And then as we get closer to school starting, we'll be replacing windows because there's a long lead time on windows, about 20 weeks, which takes us almost to August. We will be installing those windows. We'll be working around students. Any place that we can work while students are in the building, we will. But when we can't, it'll be after the bell. They'll be mobilizing and working kind of a second shift to a point where they're not, disrupting the neighborhood, but working that second shift to get the project done. Everything is completed before the end of the year.
The State Business Immigration Coalition visited a Fall River business this week where a roundtable discussion was held. The topic was how to deal with immigration policy while promoting pro-American workers during the hiring process.
Well, Matook, like a lot of companies, has a long immigration tradition. My grandfather, who started the company, was an immigrant from Syria, and we've had many generations of immigrants working at Matook over the years since then. As you can imagine, here in Fall River, we're closely connected to the Azorean community and the Portuguese communities as well. Like a lot of businesses in the Fall River Industrial Park where we're located, we have a lot of vacancies for manufacturing jobs. In fact, if you added all the vacancies for manufacturing jobs in the industrial park, you're probably somewhere in the hundreds of positions that need to be filled. And cutting off the supply of immigrants to the United States is making it much more complicated for businesses to thrive because we can't find the labor that we need to propel our businesses forward. And so from a business point of view, a sensible, legal, robust immigration policy is something that all of us believe in.
Are you having trouble finding employees here in this gateway city?
Yes, we are. It's an interesting thing about Fall River, which traditionally, like a lot of gateway cities, had a high unemployment rate and a larger supply of labor than a supply of jobs. The opposite is the truth now, and it's not just in Fall River, it's all over the state, because unemployment is so low. So we all are trying to connect with qualified employees to fill the jobs that we need. So the labor force in Fall River has always been great, but we're also collectively having a difficult time filling open positions that we need.
Now, what kind of qualifications do you require?
They're all over the board, to be honest with you. The openings here at Matook go from entry level, lower skilled manufacturing labor, where maybe only a high school diploma would be required, to higher skilled manufacturing, where there has to be a certain amount of computer and language training, up through like engineering positions and quality control management and things like that. It's really the full gamut at all of our companies that we're looking for. And a sensible immigration policy is able to help bring people into the country to fill that full range of jobs. It's some people have a misperception. It's just like agriculture, landscaping, or stuff like that. That we're looking for. It's not like that. It's we have openings at all the skill levels inside of the manufacturing system.
By now, people understand that distracted driving causes accidents that can otherwise be avoided. That point was driven home this week when a simulator was brought to Bristol Community College's Fall River campus, as we hear in this report.
We are just trying to spread awareness and education so that people can bring it into their own communities, including their friends and family, so that they can spread awareness about distracted driving and the dangers of it, because it has become an epidemic.
What exactly is distracted driving?
So it essentially falls under 3 different categories. One is visual impairment, physical impairment, and then cognitive impairment. Texting and driving happens to fit all 3 of those criteria, which makes it the most dangerous form. But distracted driving is anything that takes your eyes off the road, hands off of the operating parts of the vehicle, and of course your mental state away from the road.
So the devices that we brought here today, they give you as close to a first-person perspective as possible without putting them in any danger. So we do have a little bit of a more interactive kind of fun aspect to it. So we're not trying to make it too dour, too dark, and we just let them kind of experience what happens when you take your eyes off the wheel, when you take your attention off the road and things like that. You'll see you make a lot of very similar mistakes that you'll see people making on the road, bouncing between those 2 lines, not being able to find the center, going a little bit left of center. Every one of those things can have very catastrophic outcomes.
And we'll have more FRC Media News after this.
Today on Hot Dogs and Cool Cats, we have Gypsy. Gypsy is a 1-year-old female cat who is extremely high energy. She likes to please, she likes to eat anything fishy. She's also trained to sit, stand up, and point. She would need a home where she can be queen. She would do best in a home where the owner would do enrichment with her, cat enrichment as in hiding cookies inside toys, training her like I am doing with the clicker. She likes to work for treats, for love. She does get a little bit frisky at times, but that is because she is a kitten. So if you want to come check out Gypsy, come on down to Forever Paws at 300 Linwood Ave, Fall River, Mass.
All right, today on Hot Dogs and Cool Cats, we have 4 rats, but this one is Tristram. He is a hooded rat. He's about a year old. These guys, as much as they have a terrible stigma attached to them in their looks, they are super sweet and super smart. So if you can't have a dog, a rat is the next best thing. They love belly rubs, especially him. He's such a love bug. They do get baths every so often. We love it when they do the cuddle puddle. It means when all the rats are all cuddled on top of each other. They are super social, so if you can adopt more than 1 rat, that would be ideal. Feel free to come into Forever Paws. We're open every day 11 to 4, besides for Wednesdays. And meet these little guys as well as our other little furry critters.
The Bristol Community College art students worked with the college's Holocaust Center on a project that honored the heroism of 2 Holocaust detainees.
The Holocaust Center started a button drive to collect 1.5 million buttons to represent the 1.5 million children that were lost in the Holocaust. And they wanted a visual representation of it. And then they asked me if the art program would be interested in doing some sort of art project to help them visualize it. So we decided to do a portrait project, and we using the buttons as our artistic medium. And we did one portrait of Anne Frank as the best known face of childhood lost in the Holocaust. And then we also decided to do Stephen Ross.
For one thing, Anne Frank is probably the best known of sometimes we don't think of her as a child, but she was. It was an adolescent by the time she died. Stephen Ross is a survivor who's still living in the Boston area. He spoke here a couple years ago, and anybody, if you saw that excerpt, he was very passionate, blown us away because he came dressed in the uniform, and he's very. We've had other survivors, and they're all very poignant, their tale, but Stephen is extremely emotional, understandably.
At the end of the semester, my professor asked me to sign up for this project during the summer, and I really liked collage making and sculpture making, so this didn't seem like it just seemed like an easy yes for me.
I did it there was a gallery show at the beginning of last year, and I had a painting that was in a student art show, and Marisa was holding on to that painting for me, and I came by at the night of an art show opening. I'm like, she'll probably be there, and then she had it, but she said, we have this project that we're doing, and we could use a painter's point of view, and that's began how I became involved.
That'll do it for this edition of FRC Media News. You can watch FRC Media News Thursdays and Fridays at 6 p.m. and you can check out all our news online at frcmedianews.org. Coming up next, the Herald News recall election mayoral debate from Morton Middle School. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Thursday.